So Samsung recently released not long ago the A lineup of the 2022 versions, which are the A13, A23, A33, A53 and A73. And here with me is the A53, and this is my review of the device. So there are several colors options for this device, which are black, white, blue and peach. And the one with me here is the white colored version. So first, let's start with the unboxing of the device. So at least in my region, if you were to pre-order the smartphone, it comes with a Smart S View wallet cover, which is white in color. That explains why I picked the white color version of the device. And it also comes with a 25-watt travel adapter. So inside the box, there is a USB-C to USB-C cable, which I forgot to film because I did not realize that was in there in the first place, and the phone itself. So setting up the device, you have the standard procedure, but one of the things that I like is that you could add multiple fingerprints. Most of the devices that are set up could only allow you to enroll one fingerprint, but this you could actually enroll multiple fingerprints, which is the maximum of 3. However, I would like it to be 4 fingerprints because I often use both sides of my thumbs and both sides of my index finger. So after successfully setting up the phone, I noticed there is a visible lag at the starting up of the process for a couple of seconds, but after that period of time, the phone is perfectly alright in terms of the lagness. And moving on to the software side of things, it is running the latest Android and OneUI version, which is a plus point for Samsung devices, especially with their A and S lineup. And there is actually a software update which bumps up the March security patch to April security patch together with some other updates. In terms of the pre-installed softwares, you have the usual Samsung, Google and Microsoft applications which comes together with the phone. And 3 other applications which are pre-installed are Netflix, Facebook and Spotify. In terms of the physical tour of the device, at the top there is a microphone. At the bottom you have a USB-C connector, a speaker grill, as well as a dual SIM/micro SD card slot. On the left hand side, it's pretty much empty, which is clean. And on the right, you have the volume rocker as well as the power button. At the front of the phone, there is a single camera cutout at the top, and the screen supports Full HD Super AMOLED screen of 120Hz display. And I really like the screen a lot because of how bright the screen is, as well as the 120Hz refresh rate at the front, which gives the smoothness of the screen. However, when using apps like Facebook, I noticed that there is a stutter when scrolling through feed, and I feel that the reason could be because of the autoplay of the videos, which would actually run at 60Hz instead of 120Hz. So the switching between the refresh rate there could be the reason why there is that stutter. But other than that, if you were to view things which are just to read off things off the browser, for example, it is rather smooth in terms of the scrolling experience. And moving to the back of the phone, I like how minimalistic the design is, as well as the texture, which actually does not give any sign of fingerprint, and the touch of it feels very nice. And the whole overall build quality gives a premium feel despite being a mid-range phone. It is also rated IP67, which is a pretty high rating for a mid-range phone in terms of the waterproof and dust resistance. The processor that is in this phone is the Exynos 1280, and it comes with 128 gigs of storage and 8 gigs of RAM. It comes with NFC as well, which is a useful feature for me because of how I would use Google Pay for payments and transport. But this being a Samsung phone, you could choose between Samsung Pay or Google Pay. In the settings, you could actually select that, and it actually teaches you where the NFC chip is so that you could use the phone properly when using the NFC feature of the phone. And speaking about Samsung apps, the browser that you use is Samsung Internet Browser and not Google Chrome, which is usually found in Android devices. And the keyboard that you use is also Samsung Keyboard by default. But of course, you could actually change to any of the browser or keyboard of your preference because this is an Android phone, and you could select the type of defaults that you want to your preferences. One minor nitpick about Samsung One UI, even though it promotes reachability of one-hand usage and everything is usable with one hand at the bottom of the screen, I kind of dislike how the brightness slider is at the bottom of the phone. If you were to swipe down at the home screen, it is easily reachable to adjust the brightness. However, if you're in an application, you have to swipe from the top of the phone and to swipe it down again, and the brightness slider is at the bottom of the phone. So I have to move my fingers from the top to the bottom in order to adjust the brightness, and that is just something minor in terms of my experience. There are a couple of features that you can find in the advanced feature in the settings, and some of them are like lift to wake, double tap to turn on and off the screen. There is also the palm swipe to capture screenshot, which I feel is a hit or miss. I feel that using the 3-finger screenshots from the like of Xiaomi, Oppo, OnePlus and so on are much more convenient as opposed to using your palm to swipe across the screen in order to take a screenshot. Of course, you have the traditional way of pressing down the volume button and the power button in order to take screenshot. And speaking about turning off the screen, as mentioned earlier, you can register up to 3 different fingerprints, which I feel that having 4 would be better for me. And if I'm not wrong, most devices actually supports up to 5 fingerprints, but I'm not sure why Samsung limits to 3 only. But it could be me in terms of the exposure of devices, which I have seen so far are 5 fingerprints. And the fingerprint on this device works pretty well in terms of its accuracy and how fast it unlocks. And moving on to the cameras, the phone comes with a 64 megapixel main camera, 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, and the other 2 cameras are the macro and depth camera. I feel that they should swap the depth camera for the telephoto lens, but I feel that most devices actually uses the main camera to to zoom into photos because of the high megapixel count. And at the front of the camera, you have a 32 megapixel selfie camera that can switch between a wide and slightly ultra wide. As usual, I would incorporate day-to-day photos, and here are some of the sample photos which I have taken. And I feel that most of the photos are great and very usable in terms of the main and the ultra wide camera. I did not really test much of the depth camera, but for the macro camera, it works well when taking close-up photos. But in my opinion, I feel that using the main camera and then zooming into the details that you want may be a better choice in some of these scenarios. For nighttime, the camera will trigger an icon at the bottom right of the camera UI to indicate whether or not you would want to shoot in night mode or not. The night mode supports both the front and main camera as well as the ultra wide camera. And moving on to videos, here are some of the sample videos which I have taken for the main, ultra wide and front facing camera. This is a sample shot of the main camera that can shoot up to 30 fps at 4K resolution. Similarly for the ultra wide camera, also 4K 30 fps. So this is a sample shot of it. Right now there is a sunset that is a little far away from here, but yeah, it is a pretty nice shot here. There is this thing called the Super Steady mode, but it only limits to the main camera and Full HD 30 fps. Without Super Steady mode on, it is quite stabilized with Full HD, but for 4K resolution, apparently there's no any form of stabilization or whatnot. Similarly for the ultra wide camera, Full HD it's quite stabilized, but for UHD apparently it's not stabilized. So you choose between the resolution or the stability of the footage. And now for the front facing camera, I'm kind of surprised that it allows you to shoot up to 4K resolution for the front facing camera because I thought it wouldn't be maxed out at Full HD. Now at Full HD resolution, just to see if it's the same as the main and the ultra wide camera where Full HD has stabilization while 4K does not have stabilization. This is how the video looks like on the main camera at night, or rather low light to no light scenario. And this is for the ultra wide camera. And this is for the selfie camera. Also about the same quality as the main and ultra wide angle perhaps. In terms of its speaker, it comes with a stereo speaker where the main speaker comes from the bottom and the second speaker comes from the earpiece. It is loud enough for media consumption, and stereo speakers are definitely the way to go compared to mono speaker. For battery life, the phone comes with 5000 mAh battery and it does not come with a charger in the box. The phone supports 25 watt fast charging, but the fast is not as fast of the likes of OnePlus, Xiaomi and Oppo, and it takes more than an hour to actually fully charge the phone from low to full. As usual, in terms of my usage, I could use the phone for 2 days, but however, when I look at the screen on time, it seems lower than the previous phones which I've reviewed recently. So overall, there are a number of things which I like about the phone, which is firstly the screen, as to how bright and how smooth the screen is with 120Hz Super AMOLED Full HD display, despite the slight jutter when using apps like Facebook when scrolling through the feed. I like how the camera performs with the main and ultra wide lens at the back of the phone, even in low light scenarios. I like the overall build quality of the phone, which gives a premium feel towards it. And some of the things which I dislike about the phone, it's probably the lack of charger in the box and the charging speed of the phone, which takes more than an hour to actually fully charge the phone. So in terms of the price, it costs $598 for this phone, and whether it is cheap or expensive, I feel that it is a neither here nor there. There are things which justify the price of the phone, which are the things that I mentioned that I like, and I feel that this is an overall good phone in terms of day-to-day usage and maybe the camera performance of the phone. So if you enjoyed this video, do give it a like, do comment down if you have any opinion, and do subscribe for future videos like this. Thanks for watching!